Hi, welcome to my channel, What Debbie Makes, and happy Friday! I am here with a Friday Sews video sharing what I've made this past week and my plans for next week. This week I had planned to do the WIPitup challenge from Sew Hayley Jane with ThreadySetGo, which was to work on your WIPs, your work in progress. And I had two WIPs to do this week. One was to do another pinny lady as a birthday present for a family member, and the other was to work on my Clio. And I have not had time for that. And I'll share with you that in a minute. But I will share you with the other pinny lady that I've made. I've used the same fabric as I used for mine, but just different other bits. And I've used some colourful yarn to tie it up with. Really happy with that, and it's actually such a quick make, and I don't know why I've been putting it off. I'm not very good at making the same thing more than once. I find it really boring, but I did it and it took me less than an hour to just do this. So that is done. But I didn't work on my Clio, and that is because on Monday night I realised that it's World Book Day next week, and I asked my children what they wanted to go as. One said Hermione, easy peasy, we have a Harry Potter cloak. And the other said a cat. I was like, okay, what book has a cat in it that you want to go as? What book do you want to take in with you? And she said Cat in the Hat. And I was like, oh, but the cat has like a red and white striped hat. And she was like, oh, well, I want to go as Sally from the film. So, and then the other one said, oh, I want to go as Sally too. And I looked at the picture of Sally, is it Sally Walden from the film? And she's in like a green pinafore and then a purple lilac shirt with shirt puffy sleeves and a Peter Pan collar. And I was like, well, the pinafore I can definitely do. Not so sure about the shirt. So I have done it. But I've done one shirt so far. I need to do the other one next week. It took a whole day. But let's go through this. So I'll insert a picture of Sally from the film so you can see what the inspiration is. So for the skirt, I just thought I'm just going to do an elasticated skirt like I've done before, just to make it really easy. And then I'll add on some straps. It's a bit twisted, hold on. So like that. So it has that bit across the front and then it crosses over at the back. And the skirt was really easy. My sewing machine did not like, let me show you, attaching the straps. It did not like going through this elastic. So yeah, I wasn't really happy with how this skirt came out. I like the big buttons. The buttons were actually, like I bought some buttons from my local fabric shop. This is just polycotton. And I bought some little buttons that she suggested, but then I went to the range and they had a bag of like kids buttons, like all mixed sizes, and I just found 4 that matched. Luckily, because most of them came in 2s or 1s. So I was really lucky to find 4 that were the same. And they were like £2 something for a humongous bag. So for the second one, I just put on a Facebook group, like, what can I do to stop it doing that? So what it did on that one. And they were just like, oh, well, just sew it, hand sew it to the back, just through the one piece of fabric. You don't have to go through the elastic. And that looks so much better. So my youngest daughter has a much neater finish. I don't think either of them really care. But yeah, that's the second one. And I feel that's much nicer, so you can't see at all where those straps are attached. Right, so for the shirt, and this kept me up so long at night trying to find a shirt pattern. Like I've never made a shirt before. I've never done sleeves, I've never done collars. I've done bias binding once. And that was with shop bought bias binding. So I found a really lovely pattern from a company called Little Fig Handmade, but their patterns only go up to a size 6. And I found this pattern called the Mavis blouse, and it looked so lovely. And actually all their patterns look lovely. And I found them on Etsy, and I was really like unsure whether it was like AI or whether it was going to be really like rubbish instructions. But they had a website, they have an Instagram, and they do crochet, knitting and sewing patterns. And I messaged them on Instagram like in the middle of the night on Monday night, and I said, can this be lengthened? Will it fit my 8-year-old? She is very, very slim. So she did fit in all those sizes that were listed. She'd fit into a 5 or a 6, but she's just really tall. And they got back to me and said, well, probably not, because of the armhole would be really tight. And they didn't have any like lengthen or shorten lines. So she suggested like cutting out the pattern and then holding it up and seeing if it would fit her. But I didn't want to spend money on something that then might not work, because obviously I need to make 2 of these. So I went for a pattern by Paparita, and it was called the Tea Time shirt, and that was off Etsy. And again, I was really worried that it was going to be really hard to follow. I don't know if it was AI generated. I don't know if English isn't their first language, because some of the instructions were just a little bit hard for me to follow. Like twice fold. It said about twice folding something, and I was like, what does that mean? So during the instructions, I had to like get my husband to kind of sense check things with me and help me work out what I was doing. Like for the bias binding, I just kind of went off and did it my way. But that size, the sizing for that shirt was up to, I think, up to an age 10. So it's a lot more size inclusive. And I will show you what the finished shirt is. It is this little blouse here. It does not have the huge puff sleeves, because I mean, I couldn't find really any pattern that had the collar and a puff sleeve. And I think where the puff sleeve is so like humongous, it's not really like in fashion. It's not normal to have such a big sleeve. And I didn't know how to adjust it to make it big. So we just got this little sleeve, the little elastic on the cuff. And so it's got a little Peter Pan collar. They're not the neatest, they're not the like curved corner that I wanted, but it looks nice. And I didn't French seam anything. Everything's just done with my pinking shears, and it has poppers at the back. It had either buttonhole or poppers as fastenings, so I went with the snaps because they're just easier. And that fits my 5-year-old really well, and it actually fits my 8-year-old as well. So I'm going to make the exact same pattern for my 8-year-old. All I'm going to do is just maybe add an inch or 2. But actually this is quite long for her anyway, for my 5-year-old, so it'll be fine for the 8-year-old. So learning wise, I made my own binding, which I've never done before. I'd seen a tutorial online where you like cut out a square, cut it in half and then attach it, and then and then I found it really hard to fold it. Like my iron was just not pressing it properly. It did not want to stay folded. But I have eventually done it, and I'm really happy with it, and yeah, I'm really just chuffed that I've managed to do something like that. I think I started this on Wednesday, and I just spent time crying. Like I was just like, I can't do this, I don't understand the instructions. I'd got to the bias part and I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing. But I just took it really slow, step by step. And yeah, I'm really, really impressed with how this has come out. My daughters love it. So yeah, next week I have to make another one, which I'm gonna do, but I don't really want to. But then they're gonna have their matching Sally outfits. And what I've bought to go with it is some ribbon. The purple goes in their hair, so they're gonna have like space buns. Well, it doesn't look like a bun, it looks like where you like put a ponytail in and fold it over. So they're gonna have the purple in the hair, and then they're gonna have the green just under the collar. I noticed while we've been watching Cat and the Hat this week as well, and I noticed on the video she's got like a zigzag of green fabric underneath the collar, and I'm hoping they're not going to notice that. It's a very couple of millimeters that it comes out. I'm not doing that. They can just have the green ribbon and like a little bow underneath the collar. So those are what I have made this week. My plans for next week is going to be, I'm going to get this Clio pinafore done from Tilly and the Burns. I'm going to do it. That is my plan for next week. I have washed my fabric. It is a green, like an emerald green cotton twill. So hopefully that'll work out okay. And then I've got to do the second shirt next week. But I've also bought some yarn recently. I did a Wool Warehouse order because I needed a 7-inch embroidery ring, and that was the cheapest place to get it. So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna start on my next crochet projects. First is a sock pattern. It's like it's doing it flat in the flat rather than doing it in the round. And the pattern is by, I've written it down, can't say this, Brunaticality on YouTube. I will link it below. But they do the pattern in the socks in the flat and then sew it up. And I've got this Drops Fiesta. I can't remember what the colour is. It says 19, but it's such a lovely colour. So I'm excited. It's just DK. So I'm excited to try some socks with that. And my second pattern that I'm going to do is the Granny Square tank top by Cassie Ward, and it came from the Simply Crochet magazine. It's one of the summer ones from 2023. I have Borrow Box app from my library, and I get all like the back issues for lots of different magazines, like the Simply Crochet, Love Embroidery, Sewing magazine, some cross stitch magazines. So there's loads on there. Oh, issue 139 if you want it. I'll put a picture of the pattern here. I'm not going with the colours they've suggested because the pink is not my colour, like a baby pink's not my colour. So I'm going with hot pink. This is Hayfield Bonus Chunky, and I've got this blue to go with it, and a purple lilac, which is Stylecraft Chunky, and then a navy, as that's like your base. So that's going to be where it's pale pink in the pattern. This is the navy I'm going to use as like the base. So I thought those colours together would look lovely as this tank top. Now, I don't wear tank tops, I guess you wear it over like a shirt. I don't wear them, so I don't know how this is going to go, but I just thought it's such a lovely pattern, and maybe I can make myself a shirt to go with it. Who knows? But those are my plans for next week. Have you had a good week? What have you made? I'd love to know in the comments, but have a great weekend. Bye!